cash flow is king. Cash flow is everything. If you have cash flow, that's free financial wealth. That's lifestyle that changes everything. You can go and make money winning the lottery or investing in the market and getting a 50% return, but then it stops, right? You can go and put $1 million and make 500 grand, but then it's over. You've done, it's over. Now you got to go find the next thing. When you create things like this, it's cash flow. He's got money. He's got income coming in, month out, that allows him now to build on his business. He's building something. He's building an asset. And that's what's powerful about this. Let's start off with Brad Hart. Who are you? Where do you come from? Tell us your background. Tell us about where you came from. Where'd you go to school?
Yeah. So I was the kid, Long Island's back before the internet started. You know how it goes. I grew up in this little town that nobody can pronounce. And I got bullied a lot. I was the kid who didn't have a lot of friends. I would be on the swing set at 8 years old on the recess, time, and watching other kids play and socialize. And I was kind of alone and self-soothing, maybe slightly on the spectrum, back and forth, And I remember, I would pray that every day that one day I'd have friends all over the world. That was like my biggest dream when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
I lost my grandpa at a young age. He was 6. He died of a heart attack. So I always wanted to be a doctor, Dr. Hart, the cardiologist. And now, I'm 34 and I have friends all over the world. I've been in 25 countries, 43 states. I've met some of my heroes and gotten to travel and really do some amazing things. But when you're 8 years old, you have no idea how big the world is. It's just what it's about. So I, went through the ups and downs. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom had to leave to provide for us, unfortunately. So I didn't really have a lot of people or friends around to deal with. Got into playing guitar and smoking pot and masturbating at a young age. Did that for, I would say on a professional level for many years. Got into high school, started to kind of slip on my grades, and it just wasn't a good time. And when I was 16, my dad and I got into a fist fight, and he had to go to jail, and it was a whole other thing. So I moved out of the house, lived in my car for a little while. Coach comes in one day. He was a baseball and football coach, and he says, "Have you been fucking showing up early and showering here? Like, what's going on here?" I'm like, "Yeah, coach, I've been living in my car. My dad flipped out and hit me, and here we are." Right? He's like, "You can't stay here. Like, you gotta figure it out." But he helped me out a little bit and got me in touch with my mom and figured it out. So, I went from that. Like, I wasn't the rich kid of the school either. We didn't have any money growing up, so I'd show up in the $400 beater with 2 dented quarter panels. Cops would pull me over every day on the way to school just to fuck with me. And now here I am at this private school that I could barely afford to get into. My mom made sure I went there because she didn't want me to go to the shithole she went to. Longwood School District was pretty rough back when she went. But the kids would show up and they'd have like a new BMW or a new truck, and if they flip it over, daddy and mommy would buy them a new one, and they live in these big houses on the East End. Yeah. So it was a very juxtaposition style childhood, as you can imagine. So I learned to be a hard worker. I had to work for everything. I had jobs in restaurants and worked on a shooting range and worked on an ambulance for a while, became a bartender. And that's what I did to get myself through school. I got a degree at Binghamton. I wanted to be Dr. Hart, the cardiologist. So I went into biology, got a degree in biology.
Very cool. My wife and sister went there.
Nice. Right on. Yeah, it's a great school. So, working from a young age, I went through school and, worked the whole time and came out in 2007 and I went out to get a job because I didn't get into medical school right away. I didn't get in the schools I wanted. So I went out to get a job and I shotgunned my resume out for 200 different resumes. And I'm thinking, somebody will hire me, right? I got a degree. Yeah. And I got one interview and I show up to this one interview and I sit down and the guy's like, "Hey, I don't see where you got your PhD. Did you not put it on your resume?" You need a PhD for this job? I'm like, "Sir, I did not know I needed a PhD for this job. But can you humor me for a second? What would you pay me if I did have a PhD?" He said, we start our PhDs at $35,000 a year. I said, 35 grand? So you're telling me I got to go to 8 more years of school, write a book, get some letters after my name, and then you'll pay me 35 grand? I'm making 100 grand a year as a bartender. Like, forget it. There's no way. Right. So it was at that moment I knew that traditional education had failed me. I had to do something different. So I decided to go the self-education route. I ditched my dream of being a doctor. I went back to bartending for a while. And I used to do good as a bartender. I worked on in Times Square, 45th Street. There's a bar called O'Lunny's, a big Irish bar. And all the bankers from Bear and Lehman would come in with all their clients and drop, $3,000 on a Tuesday and write 20% on the dotted line and run their American Express, corporate card. And it was happy days. We were all making money. And then 2008 hit. And my income went from $500-$600 a night to $100 a night, and I can't afford my rent. So I'm pounding pavement, New York City, Upper West Side, Upper East Side. I had to move, downsize, live up in Harlem now. And I would, go all over the city trying to find a job. For like 2 weeks, I pounded pavement. And finally, I just, out of desperation, I remember this quote, when everybody's running out of the room, you want to run into the room. You remember what it was like. I mean, you were around when 2008 happened. It was like the wind had been knocked out of the city.
Oh, yeah.
So I get hired at this firm called E1 Asset Management. It was at 44 Wall Street, the 9th floor, and I was a junior broker. That means you sit in a room and you call 500 people in the morning in the UK, and then you go to lunch, you get a new tie from one of the vendors because you spilled coffee on it or whatever. Come back and you call 500 people in the US, and then you can stay at night and call Australia or some other place. I decided to get my real estate license at night. So I'd have a backup plan just in case that didn't work out. Luckily, it didn't work. I had that backup plan because Wall Street was not for me. Working in that boiler room was not for me. But I got really good at talking to people on the phone. So I go into Wall Street. I go into real estate. I get hired by this firm called Bond New York, which is still in existence to the best of my knowledge. And the two guys that run it are from Philly, Bruno and Noah, became some of my mentors. They really loved me. And this is like 2008, 2009, 2010, in the worst possible economy. Here I am, doing rental and real estate and working my way up to sales. And they just kept promoting me. It was great. And my sales skills got better and better. And by the time I left there, I'll tell you why in a minute, but it was 2 years later, I had 5 promotions and had a team of 6 people working under me, and happy days again. I'm back up to 6 figures, and real estate's cranking during the worst period. So, I really loved working there. But one day I'm on the train on the Long Island Railroad on the way back to go see my mom for Mother's Day, and I get a phone call that my dad had passed away. My dad never made a lot of money in his life, but my grandparents had done pretty well. So he was living off of their savings. And when he inherited from them, when I was about 16, it was like $2 million. And then 2008 happened. He was a poor money manager. And he was down to like $500,000. And he probably would have been broke in 5 years the way he was spending money. So, he had drank himself to death at that point, and we had made up, thankfully, but, he just wasn't the best role model. So I vowed that I was going to do better with money. Right. And, I was doing okay. I was making good money, but I made the mistake of like just taking time off and like figuring stuff out and working on the house and like taking a whole year. And I ended up losing a lot of it, and eventually caught my stride and started building my own businesses and got into trading and became successful trading. I had a few mentors, some people you might have heard of, like Tim Sykes, and another guy named Anand Sangvi, who goes by Sanglucci in the trading circles. And we ended up starting a hedge fund. So I partnered up with his fund. I raised a bunch of money, and we had that big year, 160% return on the money. So it was pretty cool. Smaller hedge funds, we had like 4 million between us. It was like, whatever, but it was substantial and, set us up pretty well. And here I am. We just had $1 million month. It was May of 2013, and we're on the Park Gansevoort Hotel rooftop,
Yeah, I know it.
Cheersing. They were drinking champagne. I'm drinking club soda because I quit drinking at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do I feel so miserable and burned out and depressed? We just made $1 million this month for our partners and I. Like that, I should be thrilled. And it was at that moment I knew that there was no amount of money I was ever going to make that was going to make me happy.
Yeah.
It was like the spell had been broken. And it to be real, it fucked me up.
Yeah.
Because my whole life, it was all about, I don't have enough money, therefore I'm not happy. That was the story I had.
Yeah.
And now I had money and I was miserable, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And, and not everybody can relate to that, because most people can't relate to success, but everybody can relate to failure. And I had failed at succeeding.
Yeah. I had a similar situation. I actually, when I left the street, I was 25 maybe, when I took my first internet job. And I'll never forget, it was my friend's father. He said, Eric, I'll hire you, but just know you're not going to be able to make as much money in the internet as you can in Wall Street. And I was like, I'm so stubborn. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll figure it out. You're doing okay. He was running a public company at that point. And in hindsight, it was the best decision ever made. But I mean, to your point,
you didn't know at that point.
No.
I mean, like everybody thought Jeff Bezos was insane. This crazy guy in his garage.
I was so burnt out from Wall Street as well. I hated that you were judged on your P&L only. And it was just just the whole dynamic of it long term, I didn't see, you weren't building anything, you were, and I saw people in 99, right, go from, it was the, 95 to like the dot-com bubble. I saw people making millions that were like all of a sudden falling apart and getting divorced. I was like, I do not want to be that person.
Yeah.
No way. So like, yeah, thank God.
So quick riches can destroy you if you're not careful. And
totally.
It really just comes down to mindset. Like you have a container, your mental capacity is a container. And if you all of a sudden have more than your container can hold, you start to lose out the sides. It starts to pour over. So at the 24-year-old version of me 10 years ago, I couldn't handle a $500,000 windfall, and it fucked me up. And then at the 26-year-old version of me, when I made $1 million for my partners and I couldn't handle that either. My mindset wasn't there. Now, if I had 100 million land in my lap, I'd be happy to say, like I have plans. I know exactly what I do with it. Like I have wealth, wisdom, and understanding, and having managed money and helping people manage money, and having a community and a basis and a set of values that I didn't have before. But back then there was no way in hell. So that's part of the trick of life, is understanding that you have limitations, and wisdom is knowing that, they don't have to define you, but they are a thing, and you have to grow into a certain level of wealth. You can't just wish it to be so. Like I talk to so many people that are trying to transition their business online right now, and they can't get over the fact that they don't have income, but they have to make an investment in themselves to move forward.
Totally.
That's their biggest hurdle right now. And until they can invest, they won't get the results. And I can tell them, but it's just not painful enough for them yet. It's like it's like month one of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still got food. Yeah, the restaurants are closed, but it's, they're still delivering.
I find that the biggest issue with that is, people have this insecurity that betting on themselves, they don't believe they can actually.
They don't think they're a good bet.
I don't even think I think they believe in the vehicle at some point, right? And it's just like, why would I bet on me? I'm so afraid, and it seems like so much work, and and it's like not getting past that.
Life is a lot of work.
Of course.
In the world, to get more competitive, not less competitive.
Of course. But you said something that was interesting, which I just want to point out for anybody listening here, right? He was 25 years old, 26 years old, and making $1 million and struggling to a point where now, if he got that today and made 100 million, he'd be in a different place, right? When we talk about the self-education space, pay attention to that. If you're 25, 24, and you're in that same situation, just listen to Brad, listen to what he went through, or maybe reach out to him and ask him, and
I was afraid at that moment in my life to reach out to anybody, because there's nobody that I trusted with money. I thought everybody's out to get me.
Totally.
Because I was surrounded by all my dad's cronies and friends and drunk idiot pals that were glomming onto him and wasting all his cash. I didn't know who to trust. I didn't trust his lawyer. I didn't trust his banker. I didn't trust his investment advisor. Yeah. And it took a while to like even get to a place where I could trust anybody to listen to them enough that I was like, oh, because my mindset was everybody's just trying to take my money.
Sure. For me, I never believed in coaching. I never believed in any of that until about literally almost like a year and a half ago. It just didn't seem like it was anything that made sense to me. Like, you're paying a coach, and it felt like it was all about like motivation or whatever. But since I've been doing it for the last year, I got to tell you, like, I never will not have a coach or a mentor or be part of a mastermind, because of just the power of what it does for you and what it extracts from you. It's not necessarily people teaching you anything. It's just you being around people to realize, oh my God, yeah, I got that now. And all of a sudden you come up with an idea because of the fact that you're around another smart guy that's doing it a different way, that's showing you that there's a path that you can do that you built this wall on, that you're like, all of a sudden, oh my goodness, man, like I never realized I could help people in coaching until this last year, so it's the same thing.
It's an East Coast, West Coast thing too, because living in New York for so many years, I didn't talk about energy or vibration or woo-woo shit like that. I would have been laughed out of the room. Our love language is sarcasm along them,
Right.
It's like who can fuck with each other in the most clever way. When you come out to the West Coast, it's all about that. Like, now I can see Paramahansa Yogananda's outside my window. Like, I'm in the capital of woo right now. So, when you say something like that, like we were just chatting before we really started talking about my story. And like, I gave you a potential $1 billion idea, right? And we don't have to hash what it was, but like, that's not for me to execute. But I know if I give that idea to you, create something with it. I don't have the skill set or the background with it. I just think it's a cool idea, right? Yeah. So, but that happens to me all the time. And if I was like, these ideas and ground for all the hungry hippos, I don't have nearly the relationship capital that I have because I invest ideas in other people. People know, like, and trust me enough that they, whenever I need something, I get it. So like, it's a weird thing you got to kind of get over is everybody's like hoarding their idea. Is my idea any good? Or, oh, this is my $1 million idea. It's like, it could be, but if you don't water it and have the right team around it, forget it.
Yeah. All right. So cool. So let's dive in here. Like, so how did you get to the internet world? How did you become an affiliate? How did you tell us when did it begin? How'd you build your business?
Yeah. So you said something really interesting earlier about transitioning. What the heck was it? It was really good. Anyway, kind of tell the story, but being on the different part of the wealth cycle. So you're not creating anything on Wall Street. I have this analogy. It's like we're hungry hippos grabbing for all the marbles and there's not enough to go around. I wanted to make more marbles, right? Why can't we make more marbles? Be creative. And I'm like, oh, it's a cool name and it's an alliteration. And, Nick was born. So it started out as a blog about abundance, right? And about this abundance mindset. And no idea what I was going to sell. I had no idea who was going to help. I had this like kind of fuzzy vision of I want to reach a million. And I'll do a quick version of this is like, it took us 3 years to reach 1 million people. With Tony's help last year, we reached 1 million people in this launch. This year, we did it in 72 hours and reached 2.5 million overall, verified by Facebook, in average. But the way I got into this accident, I was about 2 years in. I still had money and I was still making money from other things, and I wasn't really super focused on work. Kind of in a slump, honestly. I was in a bad relationship, just ended. She cheated on me, slipped me a Dear John letter under the door. I think she was dating me. She had married him. It was just miserable. So I'm just in the worst possible state I could have went to. And I'm knifing my gut, and I go to Tony Robbins because people have been telling me for Tony Robbins, go to Tony Robbins, Tony Robbins. Kind of book is on your shelf. You just haven't opened it. Right? I had a limited power on my shelf. I just never read it. So here I am. Yeah. I'm at a Tony Robbins event. And if you've never been at a Tony Robbins event, it's like super high energy, up and down. At that point, it's like 7 people. They're even bigger now. And I went and I'm sitting next to a woman, everybody's jumping around looking at the floor and she's not talking to anybody. She's very like introverted. I'm like, okay. So I get to talk to her. I'm like, hey, what's going on? All right. She's like, I'm not supposed to be here. I can't afford to be here right now. I don't know how I'm going to feed somebody gifted me a ticket. I'm like, you can't kids? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, well, I can't solve all your problems, but hopefully Tony can shed some insight. And in the meantime, your kids aren't going to starve. So I pull out my phone. I'm like, what's your address? And I send her a Prime Pantry box full of food. Like, here's a bunch of food that should last you a month or so. If you run out, send me a note. We connect on Facebook. I'll send you another box. Right. So I believe in just doing that. Like, if people need something and I have the ability to give it, I want to give it. Right? And I completely forgot about it at the event, and I forgot about her. And that was that. And then a year later, because we were still connected on Facebook, I get a notification that she was going live and I was tagged in it. Like, what the hell is this about? And she's in her car and she's bawling. She's telling a story about how she went to Tony Robbins and this young guy she'd never met, just gave her a box of food. And she's like, literally through tears, she's like, I was ready to end my life. I didn't know what I was going to do. And that changed everything. And now she's in a better place and she's people and she has her own business again. And like, she's on her way back. But yeah, this woman is like, I never had an experience like that where I could impact somebody's life so much. So I started getting into more charity work, and that really is where I found it. So I'm actually wearing 2 of the charities that I'm involved in right now. One is called the Greatness Foundation, where we encourage people to do great things in their community around the world. So we build houses and schools and partner up with organizations that already have that piece figured out. We bring money and people to their organization to make it go further, faster. And then the other one is Baja Bound, which is our charity that builds houses in Mexico. That's our partner with the Greatness Foundation. We go down and we build houses for families that need them, right? So they're living on dirt and we build them a house. So we go down on Friday, we bring people and money and figure it out. It's pretty awesome. We feed families down there. And it's just been the most impactful stuff I've ever done. And I've gone on to help Tony raise a bunch of money with his charities and, fed hundreds of thousands of people and put kids through the Global Youth Leadership Program. I was actually at Tony's birthday, his 60th birthday. They raised $18 million for, getting kids out of child sex slavery. So that was the big turning point for me. And I realized that I could do a lot more for people. And when I started coaching people, it was kind of just, I just had a lot of people asking me stuff like, hey, Brad, what do you think about the markets? Hey, Brad, what do you think about this? And it was kind of interesting because I had been successful as a hedge fund manager, but I didn't know how the hell to build a business. I didn't understand marketing or sales. So I just kind of started teaching myself stuff and getting good at it. And people kept asking questions and I kept helping them. And the virtuous cycle happened. And I understood about affiliate, and I would meet all these people just by nature of who I am and how I do things. I'm really relationship focused. So I just started building this incredible network. And over time, I joined 28 masterminds. I started 10 of my own. I've done them all over the world: Bali, China, Greece, Hong Kong, Italy. Wrote the book on masterminds. It's called The 8-Minute Mastermind. You can go to 8minutemastermind.com and check out the book. But yeah, it's been a really incredible journey. And the way I got involved with Tony was just because I kept going to his events. I went to 14 Tony events in 5 years or 4 years or something. Yeah. I met a lot of his key people and got to be a known face. And I met Dean through Tony. And then when Dean was doing this mastermind.com thing, I had already been teaching people how to build masterminds for a couple of years. So I'm like, dude, we got to partner up on this. And he's like, yeah, sure. Be a JV, be an affiliate. So I became affiliate number 63, and we came in 24th last year. And then this year we went after it and became the 8th largest affiliate. So that was really exciting. That's how I got into it.
Very cool. Very cool. So let's go into the tactical side for people that are listening here, because you transitioned. And by the way, you have like some story here, man. Like you're like the Renaissance man with all the things you've done.
I've done a lot of things.
Yeah, you've done a lot. Age. But so, which is great. And it shows that that's typically what an entrepreneur is like, because you keep going until you find something that just is you, right? And, normally like you see an entrepreneur who jumps from job to job, it's usually because they don't really belong in any of those jobs. They're an entrepreneur and they need to just find their way. So for all the people that are listening here, you transitioned into becoming an affiliate and becoming a coach. So talk a little bit about how you did that and what was the process in how you were able to actually take this from theory to monetizing it.
Yeah. So originally I came up under guys like Ramit Sethi and Tim Ferriss was like a big hero of mine. And I would follow, like, you kind of remember like blogs 1.0, that was how you generate leads, and everybody had a blog, and that started to die out. And then social media started to be big. I really took off on Facebook because I would write these really long posts. And back then it was like Twitter and Facebook, and I could never fit anything I wanted to say into a tweet. I still have that problem right now, as evidenced by this interview. I like to say a lot of words and write a lot of words. And I just have a lot to say. So I started writing these long, valuable posts on Facebook, and people started following them and just raving about them. And they would like lurk for years and then come buy all my shit. And, I just had that happen to me this week, actually. Somebody that's been following for literally 3 years just came and invested 5 figures. So, it's like building an annuity stream or I call it a magical genie lamp. I'll just tell a story to illustrate. You just add value to people for that long and stuff starts to happen. That's really incredible. So, a couple of weeks ago, I have a portfolio company called Farm Fresh Meals I'm an investor in. And they're a local delivery service. They deliver organic, farm fresh, chef-inspired, meals to your home. And I've been doing their advertising and helping them out. And we were having a meeting with the founder and one of the guys I helped get into the business to help them manage it. And they're like, we're having this problem with Shopify. I'm like, well, I don't really know about Shopify. I ran a Amazon agency, but I don't really know about the nitty-gritty back end. But I know who does. And they're like, well, we should do this. We should hire that person. I'm like, okay, I'll just go do my thing. And I put a post up. 60 seconds later, we hear ding dong. And somebody jumps on Zoom. And they're like, hey, what's up, Brad? Okay, cool. What's your problem? Okay, great. And 5 minutes later, the problem's solved. And I'm like, hey, man, what's your PayPal? I'll send you some cash. He's like, no, don't worry about it. All right, see you later. And they're like, who was that guy? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, fucking comes in, solves their problem, and then like Batman, just off into the fucking wilderness. It's like off into the night he goes. And I don't remember who he is to this day. Like, I never met the guy before in my life. So that's just the kind of thing that happens when you are vulnerable, authentic, and share what's really going on. Like, I'll tell it like it is. Like, you read my posts about, wins, losses, and everything in between, and people just, there's so much bullshit out there and they don't know who to trust. Like, that really resonates with people. So that's my best advice for anybody getting into the internet, is just be willing to share your warts and all. Like, I always start with where I started from. I'm a single, only child, injured, alcoholic father. Mom had to leave. And I had to figure the fucking shit out. I didn't have any brothers or sisters. I didn't have anybody to protect me. I got my ass kicked all the time. It sucked. I didn't have any friends for a long time. And I slowly built humor, and I slowly built rapport, and I slowly understood how to like be friends with people. And I just went from there. And I didn't know girls. I didn't get girls. So like I read the game and figured out how to talk to girls. I didn't want to be a pickup artist. I just wanted to connect with somebody of the opposite sex. That was like a huge win for me at 19 years old. And now I'm in a beautiful relationship because I never stopped working on myself.
Now, it's just at a basic level. When you say you be vulnerable and share. So take us through exactly what you mean by that. Do you go to your Facebook profile and start talking about your life? Do you open up a group? Do you go to Instagram? Do you pick one? Do you do it on both? What would you recommend?
Yeah. So again, the platforms that existed at the time were like Facebook and Twitter. So I just decided to go on Facebook because it felt to me like the most, it just fit me the best. Like I'm not a photographer. I don't want to post pretty photos. My posts tend to be long, and it was where a lot of my friends were already. I'd started using it in college. I was comfortable with it. Whatever works for you, but pick a platform and just start being consistent and prolific. If you're consistent and prolific, your talent will have to catch up with you eventually. Right. And I look at stuff I wrote 5 years ago and it's terrible.
Right. When I've been asked questions like this before, and one of the challenges is that people do that. However, they don't have a following. So how do you get people to come, right? You could add as much value as you want and post anything you want on the internet. If no one's there following you, then they're not going to get the message. So how do you initially go out and show people that you're smart, help them, add value, so that then they're like, oh, wait, you know what? I'm going to start following Brad because he gets it. And I'd like to.
So literally I've been getting asked this question every single interview right now. So I'll just share what's working right now. How's that? I'll just share my screen and literally show you. Oh, here's fun. This is something from 14 years ago. Look at that kid. That's amazing. All right.
You?
So if you go to Brad's profile, I used to wear a tie. Don't do that anymore, thankfully. I'm just waiting for it to load. All right, cool. So here's what's working right now. You got to enter the conversation of people, what's going on in their heads right now. Everybody's like, if you go to Zoom right now and you go on their customer service queue, there's 500 people waiting to talk to Zoom, which means there's a high demand for online and virtual events. Like we're even seeing glitchy stuff like my internet's solid, my computer's hardwired, yours is solid, and our internet's not working as well. But I just went on, because I'm the mastermind guy, that's what people are looking for. I just went on and said, hey, I'm going to create a virtual mastermind guide. Like literally, and I'll just show it to you what it is. So that's not it. That's this. Okay.
Right, but how many followers do you have right now?
Let's see.
You have an audience, right? People know you.
I have 2,700 people following me.
Right, so you have 2,700 people.
I didn't start that way. But I would do stuff like this all the time. Like when the crypto thing happens, everybody started asking me questions. I realized, there's demand for crypto knowledge, right? So I created a crypto cheat sheet. So you can do this whatever level you're at. And if it's good, I got 10,000 new eyeballs in like 2 days when it was the height of crypto mania. So you go on, you do a, step-by-step guide, and you just give away value. 328 comments. Like there's tons of people. I literally had to buy a new piece of software just to be able to manage all this. And now I have like tags on all of them, and I know exactly how to do it.
This can be great for Survey Detective. It's great for one of your hooks when you.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. So who wants to check out this new platform or whatever, right? So that's value, and then they get this little guide here that shows them how to run a virtual mastermind, and they download it. And then where did it go here? So
and you capture their name and email so that you build up your list.
Exactly, because you want to take it off platform. Right now, I've got all these people looking at this guide, and I made it like 8 pages. You write the way I write this in like an hour or two. It doesn't take that long. And I do a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced. I learn people really like that, so you can stack on top of each other. Like if you just start here. If you know a little bit or you have some stuff already built out, start here or whatever, right? And then I do a little bit of a sales letter at the end to get people to go further faster, buy my book, do that kind of stuff. And I put a little photo of myself. And the reason I don't make a pretty PDF that's all polished is because I want people to give me feedback and ask questions so I can continue to update this guide, right?
Got it.
So then when I do make it a PDF, now it's a piece of value I can use as a lead magnet.
Yeah, that's great. So two things I want to point out here for you guys listening. One is he said off platform. Okay. What he meant by that, so you guys understand this, is that he's using Facebook for the traffic that they have. But what he's trying to do is get these people to give him their personal information so that he can communicate with them off of Facebook and create a personal relationship. Right. And on his mastermind giveaway, it's what he's doing is he's giving you value. And at the end, he has a sales letter where he's giving you a call to action at the end so that he can try to ascend the user up the ladder to continue to warm this relationship with Brad and hang out with him. So those are two things, guys, that you can use as strategies, which is really cool. Nice.
Yeah. So right now, basically our front end model of paid traffic acquisition looks like Facebook will be ad roll and YouTube very shortly. And Facebook is sending us leads in order to get some free downloads. I'll just go to it just to see it, just to give people a sense of what it is.
Downloads for what?
Let's take a look. So here's the page. You go to 8minutemastermind.com. You get the free resources. So the case study trainings. This is like recorded hot seats of me doing this. I have like 10,000 hours as a mastermind facilitator, so you can get a sense of what a mastermind should sound like. You can go and get the cheat sheet, like just a quick implementation. I built this a while ago. You can jump in the group. There's a bunch of trainings in there, and then here's 100+ questions to ask your mastermind as well. And you get all this for free. Once you get it for free, I'll just put in my email real quick just to show you. That's my real email if you want to send me a note, or hit me up at Brad Hart on Facebook, and then you can get a free copy of my book just by paying shipping. That's how it works. And then I talk about the book, and I'm very, very transparent. Like, here's my referrals, here's my testimonial. I even like break down the cost of the book for you. So there's like no catch. Like, this is what it costs. I break even on this, and I don't even charge you for the ad spend, but the ad spend is extra, right? So like I break even on the book, and then I have an ascension funnel. So when they buy this, they get another offer. Here's something I learned from Russell, who's one of your mentors as well, that always stuck with me, is I buy every one of these books I can get my hands on. I buy everybody's top of funnel thing. Here's Todd, Ryan, Eben, Mark Devine, Jeff Walker, Dean Graziosi. Dean sells 20,000 of these a month on freaking YouTube. And I pull out anytime I see a free plus shipping book funnel, I pull out my credit card and I buy it. And if anything that's like under $100, I buy that too, because I want to see what they're doing for Ascension. Because if I get one idea that helps me make a better funnel, then all of a sudden I've ROI'd infinitely, exponentially as a result of that purchase. So everybody's like, oh, these upsells, man. Like they're showing you how to be front end profitable in your business. Right now we're making $3 for every dollar we spend on Facebook. Right on the front end. Anything we sell them on the back end, is profit.
100%. I try to explain this to people all the time, is that you're out there, you're trying to figure things out, you're lazy, you're not being resourceful when it's right in your face. The people are doing it and they're training you. Go through the process, be the customer, but also take a step back and get out of your body and watch, and then buy it, sign up for it. Watch how they send it to you. How do they deliver it to you? What does it look like? Then where are you going? For example, you give away this free lead magnet, and now you're landing on a page where you have this 2-step, what is this, free shipping? Free shipping. Yes. And now so guys, what he does is he generates a lead magnet free of something of value. So the quality of the traffic is good because it's not a free gift card. It's a free something around masterminds. So people have to be interested in masterminds to sign up for it. Someone doesn't care about masterminds is not going to sign up for this thing. But then he lands on this page now where he's giving away a free book, and now he's turning them into a customer by getting their credit card out, right? And I would imagine after they buy this, do you have something? Do you have a page after this, like an OTO?
The next upsell in the funnel is 21-day challenge with like some additional support, a Facebook group and everything. That's $67, and then we have a $97 masterclass on sales. And then KBB on the back end, is what we sell. In addition, I have a $6,000 coaching program that I take people through for 6 months and teach them like how to build a mastermind, and they get all my content that I've been building over the last several years. So that's the basic funnel. I could build this in any vertical, it's a little bit of work to get set up, but once it's set up, it's like I'm making sales whether I'm asleep, whether I'm awake, I'm taking a run, I'm going out walking the dog, I come back, I'm riding my motorcycle, I got sales. It's great. So right now, like I said, we're making $2 to $3 for every dollar we spend every day.
Guys, listen to that. He makes, every time he spends $1, he'll make $2
on the front end.
On the front end, right? And then there's the back end play. So then if you asked him what is his budget, his answer is going to be unlimited. As long as those metrics stay.
As long as those numbers hold up, I'm going to spend as many dollars as I possibly can.
Exactly. You're going to spend as much money as you possibly can. That is the business. That's how you guys can start a business without someone giving you money, right? You just have to understand the arbitrage, right? And just understand how to get people in, right? Let's just review this. He has a free checklist of something. Someone signs up. He gets their name and email. After they sign up, how do you deliver that to them?
Just through active campaigns.
How do you deliver? So you'll trigger an email sending them the checklist. But when they sign up, the next page, he's landing them on a free book offer where the user can now take out their credit card in real time. Their mind is on Brad and all the things that he's providing, all the content. So in real time, they can purchase his book. If he does, they take out their credit card. Do you have an order bump when they buy the?
Yep. They get the audio book and the hot seat recordings.
For how much?
For $27.
And what's the shipping cost?
$9.99 for domestic, $19.99 for international, anywhere in the world.
Right. So someone lands on their shipping page, right? So they take out their card, they get the book for free, but they pay $9.99. Then he gives them an option, which is a one-click. Do you want the audio book? And if yes, then they click, and then they get charged whatever that number. What is it? 67? You said?
27 for the audio book, and then you get an extra.
So now he gets the $9.95 plus the $27. So now he's at $37. They click submit. Once they click submit, now he's got a sale at $36. Now the next page shows up, and he has a $67 offer, a $97 on the back end, right? Mm-hmm. And then the KBB, which he'll make a commission on if they buy that, right? So all of that from the flow starts with a lead magnet, and that lead magnet is being filled out because he's adding value on the internet through his profile. People are following him. He's sharing this because it's relevant at the time, right? Right now it's relevant. When Bitcoin was relevant, he had something with Bitcoin. Right now it's relevant with, everybody is staying home. They can't go to work. So how do they make money? And they're freaking out that they can't make money. So Brad's smart enough to say, wait a second, guys, if you can't make money online and you're sitting at home, there's only so many Netflix shows you can watch. Take some time to read my book, and I will show you the path of how to make money online. And when he gets them in for free, right, all of a sudden, if they like the content, now he's giving them more content, but they know it's value because it's the $9 that they're going to pay. What they're getting in return is so much more value because they realize they can take that $9.
It's not even like, it's not like a little gimme, this is a real book I actually wrote, it took time and effort and 3 edits to get it out the door.
Right. So. But even so, if you guys are just getting started, you don't have to go and write a book. Okay. There's a few ways you can do it. One is you can promote somebody's offer, not yours, that has a book. Right. So you do it the same exact way, but then you find an affiliate offer. It could be Brad's, and you promote and you do a deal with Brad saying, hey, Brad, if I send you a customer, how much money will you give me? Brad will come back to you and say, I would give you this for that, right? It's the same thing. It's just if he's making $2, he can afford a certain amount. He can pay you $1 for every time you send somebody over on a click, right? It's the same concept. But so you guys out there, this is performance marketing. This is the ability for you to have a side hustle if you're not ready to do it. But the idea of having financial freedom is he just gave you the blueprint, and you could take that and do that in any category on the internet. So that's really cool.
I like to think of it as like you have a salesperson that doesn't sleep, doesn't get tired, never misses a beat, and gets your message out all over the world 100%. At all times. I'm getting people buying in Italy and Australia and all these different places I've never, some of them I haven't even been to. It's really cool. And now these people know about me and they're reading my stuff. It's awesome.
Right.
And
plus,
I don't ship out the book. I have a fulfillment house that ships out the book.
And for the record, guys, this is not easy. However, he works his butt off. He writes a book. He puts together the funnel. He gets everything set up. He probably worked his butt off for 3-6 months, whatever that is. But now this is sitting on the internet forever. Yeah. Forever. And what he's saying is it's evergreen. So when he's talking to us right now, his traffic is still coming through. People are clicking and signing up. and he's generating revenue as we're speaking right now. That's the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of being able to understand this process. Back in the day, it was, all right, to create wealth, you buy a building and then you pay off the building and you charge rent so that people are paying rent on a monthly basis. And that's how you create wealth, right? That's the same concept. His building is his funnel, right? The thing is, he doesn't have to come up with $20 million. He's building this funnel, and now this funnel is out in the marketplace, and people are going through his funnel, and it's generating revenue for him that creates cash flow. Cash flow is king. Cash flow is everything. If you have cash flow, that's free financial wealth. That's lifestyle that changes everything. You can go and make money winning the lottery or investing in the market and getting a 50% return, but then it stops, right? You can go and put $1 million and make 500 grand, but then it's over. You've done, it's over. Now you got to go find the next thing. When you create things like this, it's cash flow. He's got money. He's got income coming in, month out, that allows him now to build on his business. He's building something. He's building an asset. And that's what's powerful about this. So appreciate you showing all that.
Absolutely. So I just want to demystify this internet marketing thing. I'll just give you the 5 pieces of a funnel. You need a free opt-in so you get leads for cheap. And this way, if they don't buy right away, you can also retarget and send more emails and things to get them to buy later, right?
Take out your notes, guys, and start.
So it's 5 things, ready? 5 buckets. You need the free opt-in. Then you need the some sort of physical thing you can ship, like a book. It doesn't have to be a book, but it should be like a book. That would be the ideal. Then you need an upsell to, you can have multiple, but you should have at least one upsell to a single standalone one-time payment product up to $97. Anything above that, it gets harder and harder to sell. You can do it, but it just depends on your niche and what you're selling and to who, and the quality of your traffic. So I'd say up to $97. Then I don't actually have this yet, but I'm building it with Stu McLaren. And his method is having a membership continuity offer. So that'd be the 4th bucket, is getting people on a regular, consistent basis. Because if you can get 1,000 people paying $49 a month, what else do you have to do, right? Anything else you decide to do after that is gravy. And then finally, you have a high ticket offer. And I recommend having the first one and the 5th one first. So that's the first one being the free piece of value, so you can generate leads and just start a conversation with people, and then have a high ticket program. And then the middle piece to connect all of it is sales, is you getting on the phone one-on-one with people to continually get better at closing deals, at enrolling people, and invest in that skill, because that's going to bring in the most money and give you the most ROI on your time in the beginning. If you're messing around and you're just starting and you're trying to build a whole scalable ascension funnel, it's too much too soon. So start with thing 1 and thing 5, but have in the back of your mind, I'm eventually going to create a book. I'm going to create a one-time offer, and I'm going to create a continuity offer to marry that gap. So now I can have these 5 things cranking, have a webinar that's going. And then by the time people show up on my calendar, they're already pre-indoctrinated. They've read my book. They've taken some of our courses. They've watched our webinar, and they're ready to buy. And that's the dream, right? I don't want to get on the phone with anybody who's a tire kicker. I don't want to get on the phone with anybody who hasn't read my stuff or doesn't know who I am. And I don't want to worry about anybody who is really just not serious about building a business. I have a limited amount of time on this earth. I'm going to spend it with people that want to do things and invest in themselves and not just talk about it.
I mean, that's awesome. And I'll add to it, guys. It ultimately starts with your core offer. What he's talking about with high ticket, it's a reverse engineer. The core offer is where you want to build your business around. The front end part that he's talking about, that front end part, the hook, is how you're getting people in. You're giving them what they want, and the high ticket, the core offer, is what they need, if that makes sense, right? Because people don't realize they need it, and you don't want to force something on somebody that doesn't know yet.
Even if you tell them hey, I know that you need sales, that's going to be the key thing. Nobody wants to hear that.
Exactly.
And everybody's going to put that off for years. They'll do it. Exactly. They'll get by and they'll struggle and they'll never really scale up because they just don't know how to bring money in the door. They don't know how to turn no's into yeses, or they do so much work to talk to so many people that they're just leaving tons of money on the table thinking, oh, well, I have a pretty decent conversion rate. I'm converting 10 or 20%. You can convert 50% of the people you talk to. That's when you know you're dialed.
And I'll tell you another thing.
It's too cheap. And if you're doing less than that, you suck at sales and you need to get better.
And I'll add one more thing, guys, that you can listen to, because he talks about writing a book, and I got to tell you, like writing a book, I think about it like it's in my head, but it's just a pain point. There are ways you can do this right now where there are places like the PLRs that you can go and people will license out their books that you now then can brand yourself. So you can
I
go.
just learned about this. Actually, one of my clients told me about this. PLRs.
There you go.
Really cool.
So you can go for like 10, $15 to some of these websites where you can license a book that someone's willing to allow you to private label. And then you can use that as your lead magnet. You can use that as your low ticket offer where you sell it for the $7 shipping free, anything that puts you in business tomorrow, right? You don't have to go write a book immediately. And I recommend you don't write a book until you actually find your voice and figure out what you want to do. And, the other thing that I thought was really cool was you said you don't get on the phone with somebody unless they know who you are, right? And that means that they've consumed your content, right? They've seen your webinar, they've read your book, they've gone through your funnel. At what point do you get on the phone? How do you get them on the phone? When do you contact them? How does that work? Do they dial you? Do you dial them?
I never dial out. It's all incoming at this point. If people want to get on the phone with me, there's ways to do it. There's the challenge, which is telling them, hey, if you're ready to like get serious about this and not dabble, but actually master it, you can come and talk to me about my program. There's people that have seen me doing Tony stuff and they just like, there's different people that know me for different things. Like some people know I'm good at managing money. So they come to me for that. I have clients that are like, I got a couple $100,000. I don't know what to do with. And the market seems like there's opportunities, but I don't know where to go. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's work together. And I do that. I got people that are like, I want to build a mastermind. Awesome. I do that all day long. No problem. I've built so many masterminds that make your head spin. And then I got people that come to me for marketing advice. So those three buckets, I want to be known for that. I'm not out pitching business. I don't have the time for that.
Yeah. And guys, just the thing is, and what Brad's doing is he's creating the opportunity for someone to reach out to him. A lot of marketers make this mistake where they're like, well, just call me. Right. But when people are going through funnels, if there's no number or there's no way to click to call, then they don't really get that. As much as you're in your mind thinking, oh, well, you can call me if you want. I'm happy to talk to you. You have to provide that for them and you have to communicate it that you're willing to get on the phone and this is how you do it and show them the way. And that's how you'll start to get those calls.
Yeah. And eventually you'll get so busy, you have to be more selective about who you allow on your calendar because a lot of tire kickers out there, especially now, it's not painful for them enough to make a decision yet.
So what you do is do you set up like a calendar, allow somebody to click?
Yeah, so like they've got to set an appointment, but then they've got to fill out an application. And if they don't fill out the application, I cancel the call.
Okay.
Because that just shows me they're not really serious.
Yeah. So he creates, there's software like Calendly, right? And then what he does is he sets his hours. It's like the same way when you're in college and the professor says, you can come to me on Monday and Wednesday from 5 to 7. He sets his hours when he's willing to take a call. And then someone will click, they'll book a time with him. And then what he does is smart. He then adds an application to qualify these people so that he's not wasting his time. If someone's not going to take the time to fill out the application, he's not going to get on the phone with them. No, thank you. They have to fill out the form. And I'm assuming that the questions he's asking are qualifying them in a way that based on how they answer will tell him if it's somebody that is possibly going to work with him and be a high ticket offer. If it's not, he's probably not going to talk to them. But if it is,
I actually have a scoring system. I'm looking for strikes, right? I'm asking, give me questions like that my ideal client will answer correctly. And I give them up to 3 strikes before I reach out and I say, hey, could you clarify these? And if they just don't have good answers for me, I cancel the call. This is not a good fit. Let me give you a referral. I try to help everybody, but I'm only one guy, right? And sometimes it's not a good fit. So I'll just tell them that it's not a good fit for us, but here, try this out or check out this book or check out this resource. Because I know what everybody out there is offering and I probably have the answer for you. So it's worth it to talk to me. But then I get so busy with people that aren't my clients. So I just got to be more careful about how I spend my time because the desire to want to help everybody and the reality, they're insane. So you got to be clear on your priorities, your values, your time.
Yeah, cool. Brad, this was awesome. Really awesome. I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time and coming on.
I love doing this and I love helping people do it. So I really, can I give another plug for my book?
Absolutely. Go for it.
So yeah, check out the 8-Minute Mastermind. You can go to 8minutemastermind.com. You can get your free book. You just pay shipping. We ship it to your house. Check it out. You can see it from the marketing angle. You can see it from I want to build a mastermind because I'm sitting at home and I want to connect with my audience and add value. We're also doing virtual masterminds right now for a limited time. I grew one of the largest San Diego masterminds. It's all entrepreneurs. It's word of mouth. For the last 2 years, I have over 500 entrepreneurs that come to my house on, 10 to 20 at a time, and they do masterminds. So we just took that online, and you can go to mastermindvirtually.com now and sign up for that. And if you want to learn to build your own virtual mastermind, you go to mastermindvirtually.com/bonus. And if you're needing those links, he'll put them in the show notes, and we can get you rocking and rolling. And that's what we got going on. We're happy to help, and we want to help you connect with your people and do your thing. So it's been really awesome to do that. And you'll get the recordings if you want to see recordings. What I've noticed, Eric, is that people have the same 10 or 12 problems. They really do. It's like the same problems over and over again. So you can just watch the recording and get a lot of questions answered. If you like what we're doing and you want to go further, faster, and work with us, we can talk about that as well.
Awesome. Well, guys, there you have it. A guy who was never on the internet and how he got there and how successful he's been. There's been so much gold in this conversation that take out your notes and literally just listen to this 7 times. Stop and go, because we just literally gave you the blueprints on how you could build a business. It's great. So, Brad, I appreciate you being so forthcoming. Thanks for coming here. Stay safe, stay healthy during this time, and be good, man.
You're awesome. I appreciate you, brother.